Unemployed doctors in KwaZulu-Natal remain outside the provincial health department offices in Pietermaritzburg, and they've been calling on government to fulfill its promise of giving them contracts by April. Newzroom Afrika's Nobuhle Modise joins me now live from there. Nobuhle, good morning. As we've said in the intro, government promises to place unemployment doctors by the 1st of April. That hasn't been entirely fulfilled, and we sit with the situation in South Africa where in the public service we've got 3 doctors for every 10,000 patients. This is a dire need. Having 825 or hundreds of unemployed doctors is not ideal.
You are right, Iman. A very good morning. You'd remember that the unemployment of health workers exists alongside a severe staff shortage in the public healthcare sector. And what's happening here in KwaZulu-Natal, you'd remember that on the 12th of February, unemployed doctors marched to this very same building, the Natalia building, which is the head offices for the provincial health department. And what happened then there was they gave a memorandum of demand. And you'd remember we had the deputy health minister, also just saying on record that, this is something that's being looked at a national level. And then we had the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, also saying, making that promise that doctors would be hired by April. We heard Minister Joe Phatla as well saying the same thing. And now the doctors here are saying they're quite tired of these empty promises. On Wednesday, the health MEC in the province, Nobuhle, told media that they were engaging with some of the unemployed doctors here who started this sit-in on Tuesday, and they were meant to meet with them on Wednesday. But the doctors here say what happened is that they were thrown out of these premises forcefully by police, and that led to a breakdown in communication. But the health department in the province did manage to speak to some of the doctors or representatives of these unemployed doctors, and they said that they'd come up with some sort of a resolution. In that very same briefing, or that message that was sent out by the health MEC, Nobuhle, she had mentioned that indeed the department had received some funds this year, but those funds were from the medium-term expenditure framework for a wage agreement that was agreed upon last year, and therefore the reason why they're unable to hire doctors, even though there is a dire need, is because of funding issues. I want to bring in one of the unemployed doctors that's standing here with me right now, Dr. just for him to just paint a picture for us of what exactly took place between those negotiations or the meeting that they supposedly had with the health department HOD, Dr. Sandile Shabalala. Thank you very much, Dr. Ngabinde. Just speak to us about what some of your concerns are and why we are on day 4 of these doctors, you included, just sleeping outside here and basically saying the government has not, agreed or lived up to the promise that they've made.
Yes, sir, this is true. This is day 4. As you can see, we've been here since Tuesday, and as you explained, we did have a meeting on Tuesday, and in this meeting, it was a very long and protracted meeting. So in summary, the 3 points that the government has resolved, or the HOD has promised. The first was the synchronization of our data. So there seems to be a discrepancy between the numbers that the department has and what we have collected. So we've resolved that we will work with them to make sure that our numbers are synchronized in terms of how many doctors are unemployed. The second point is that the HOD has resolved to centralize the hiring process. This is to expedite the hiring of doctors. They've also resolved The second point is to expedite the hiring process with the hope to make sure that we are hired. They also resolved to go for a deviation of to follow a deviation of the hiring processes. And then thirdly, it's with regard to the budget. So it appears that the government, especially the HOD, say that they received the budget on the 25th of March, and they have since been trying to we failed to get the numbers correctly as to how much was the budget and where has it been going. But in this meeting, they promised us that we're going to have answers to these questions. And we also want to work with them in order to make sure this is resolved amicably.
Now, Dr. Nkabinde, with all this said, you've given us 3 points of what happened in that meeting, which seem like resolutions. Why is it that now you are still outside the Natalia building?
So, unfortunately, it's just very difficult to get clear communication from the department, because we have interviews. We always try and attempt to contact them, but we don't. And the sit-in has been a result of that. As the country is well aware, we had a meeting on the 12th, a march on the 12th of February, and then after that a resolution was submitted to the department, and since then we didn't get any response from them. This then led for our ad hoc committee to do a follow-up on the 26th of March. Again, we were not met by the department at the Natalia building, which then that meant us to have to go to the Premier's office. Only then someone was able to send an email finding out a report on this memorandum. So again, after that, there was no response from the government whatsoever, and this prompted the sit-in, which then started on the 2nd.
We've heard the Health ABC in the province, say that the Premier in particular is in conversation with, national government in order to deal with this current situation. We've also heard them also cite budget constraints as to why they're unable to hire. Now, you've mentioned the resolutions that you came up with on Tuesday when that meeting happened, and the MEC did, ask these doctors that are sitting out here to go back home until a resolution is found. But we're not seeing that happening. I'm hearing everything that you're saying. Are you then saying that you're unhappy with what the provincial health department is giving you as a solution at the moment?
Yes, that's definitely true. We are not happy, and we can't be happy, and that's just the honest truth. We are here to represent the healthcare system of South Africa, which is in dire need of the workforce. And what's happening is a travesty. It really is a travesty. So unfortunately, we just can't trust their word anymore. You can't expect us to go home. Go home to do what exactly? We need to make sure that we are hired so that we can serve the people of South Africa. So that's why we are here.
Thank you very much. That is Dr. Nkabinde, who's one of the unemployed doctors who have been staging a sit-in here at the Natalia building in Pietermaritzburg since Tuesday. I'm going to step out of shot just so my colleague Lungelo can just show you, what has been happening here since Tuesday. And we understand that these unemployed doctors have been sleeping outside here, camping outside here. There's blankets, there's camp chairs, there's some refreshments. And as you heard Dr. Nkabinde say that they are not willing to go back home until, there's a form of clear communication between them and the various departments. But for now, we will continue to speak to some of these doctors, as well as the health department reach out to them as well, because they did have a press conference on Wednesday, and we then have to reach out to them once again, for a response, because they have said, like I mentioned earlier, funds were received from the medium-term expenditure framework, but those funds were for a wage agreement from last year, and unfortunately they are unable to fund some of the posts that have been advertised that are available, and can only fund a few of those posts, and this is why we are now here today.
It's so inconceivable, Nobuhle, in a country with such a dire need, for us to have capable, qualified doctors protest for the right to have a job. And we heard the health minister say it represents a paradox, really, when you think about the Auditor General's report of 2023, the Eastern Cape paying out 867 million rand in claims. These are damage claims, whereas a salary bill for about 694 doctors would have been around 838 million. So, again, that insidious paradox, leaving doctors on the street. It's a story we'll continue to watch and get more comment on as well. We'll check back with Nobuhle to see how that all develops today.